بسم الله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And we're continuing with another session of التعبير القرآني by Dr. Fadil Saleh السمرائي. Sorry. Yeah. So we had done quite a bit on page 6. There's only about this line that is remaining, which is introducing what's the discussion on page 7. So we'll finish that off and hopefully start page 7, a little bit of it. Okay, inshallah. Let me make this bigger so we can be able to see clearly. Oops. What happened? Okay. Okay. So who wants to participate? Whoever wants to participate, you can raise your hand and we can figure this out. Okay, so we have Niana.
Okay, Bismillah. Ya, Ja'a fi malaku ta'wili
Milaku.
visuaril. Oh,
Milaku.
Oh, milaku. Ja'a fi milaku ta'wili visuari lati tabda'u bil ahrufil muqatta'ati.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and then ja'a fi'il milaku ta'wili idofa fi surat MDF jar majrur bil ahrufi muqatta'ah is also MDF. Muqatta'ati is ism maf'ul, right? Ism maf'ul. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So, but it's very difficult for me that to translate it.
No problem.
Yeah. It came in Milaak Atta'weel in this surah, that begin letter, this associated letter with this associated letter.
Good.
To be honest, I saw it in Google Translate, but for me it's still very difficult.
Don't worry about it. As long as you understand what's being said and you understand the different parts, like this is a fi'al, this is a fa'il, and so on and so forth, it will become easier to translate, inshallah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But my weakness also, to divide between mutada and khobar. So in this case, there is no mutada.
No, there's no mubtada.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a jumla
no
fi'aliyah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jumlah fi'liyah.
Yeah.
Okay. So I continue.
Let's figure that part out because the next part is a bit difficult. So let's just.
Okay.
I'm gonna go through that part.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So it says جاء في ملاك التأويل في السور. Again, this is not surah. This is suwar. It's the plural of surah. Surah is one. Suwar is many. Okay. So في السور, yeah. في السور التي تبدأ بالأحرف المقطعة. It says that it came, like you said, it came. So جاء, it came. في ملاك التأويل. ملاك التأويل, milak means foundation, basics. So it came, the book is called The Foundations of interpretation. Not angels of interpretation, because that doesn't make any sense, but foundations of interpretation or basics of interpretation. That's the name of the book, Milaak Atta'weel. So now the author introduced a concept to us. He introduced the concept that you would find that the letters which begin a surah, for example, Qaf, he had mentioned, or for example, Sad. So you have Surah Sad and Surah Qaf. You'd find that entire surah, for example, if we were to look at Surah Qaf, that majority of what's in that surah is going to be words that contain the letter Qaf. So he introduced that idea. Last week we discussed in this previous paragraphs, that's what he said, okay? So you'd find that the letter Qaf being repeated in Surah Qaf, the letter Sad being repeated in Surah Sad, and so on and so forth. Now he's giving evidence from another source, which is now this book, Milaak Atta'weel. So he's saying, جاء في ملاك التأويل, Milaak Atta'weel mentioned, this book was mentioned, or it mentioned that, so جاء في ملاك التأويل, it came in ملاك التأويل, في سور, so this fi, we can translate it as about, yeah, about surahs. So it came in Milaak Atta'weel about surahs, fi suwari, and you can see a surah is, if you compare, it has al on it, so that's why we have allati. Allati is a sifa to a surah. Okay, so when you have a proper, you use the ism mawsul. When you're describing something proper, in a complex sentence, use allati or alladhi. And here it is allati because a surah is a broken plural, so that's why we are using singular feminine. Okay. Yes, I'll work on the translation. So جاء في ملاك التأويل, it came in ملاك التأويل في سوري about surahs التي that, so now we are describing the surahs that yes.
Can you explain this again? What you're talking about pronoun, the proper noun?
Oh yeah, so when you have a proper, when you're describing something proper, like we did in complex, is it complex sifas? I think that's what it was called. How to sifa, complex sifas, I think. So sometimes you can have a jar majroor that is a sifa, you can have a jumla ismiya, right? So in this case, when you have, so when you have something proper, you have allati or alladhi. Sometimes you cannot have direct. It cannot go direct. You have to have alladhi or allati when it's proper.
Right.
But when it's nakira, you have a jumla directly.
Remember.
Yeah.
So this is Mausuf Sifa, right?
Yes, this is the sifa from allati. That is the sifa of a suwar. So now we are describing a suwar. Okay. So it came in Milaak Atta'weel about surahs which begin allati tabda'u, which begin bil ahruf al muqatta'ati, begin with disjointed or disassociated letters. What we mean by disjointed letters is, for example, alif lam mim. We don't read it as alam, we read it as alif, like a single letter, alif lam like a single letter, and mim like a single letter. So that's why it is called disjointed letters. Yeah. So these letters, we are familiar with them. They happen quite a bit in the Quran. So that's what he's saying. Okay. And then he's going to quote to us an excerpt from the book Milaak Atta'weel, what the author of Milaak Atta'weel said. So this, whatever is in the bracket, is what the author of Milaak Atta'weel said regarding this idea that surahs, regarding the idea of surahs beginning with disjointed letters. Okay. So is that clear so far?
Yes.
Okay.
Sister Ilham, would you mind just briefly giving the above paragraph? When can you repeat this just briefly? The
From
above
Ja'a?
paragraph, yes. It is related to this one. No, the above paragraph.
Okay.
So that I'll get an interpretation of this one actually. I'm not able to connect this with this.
Okay, good. All right. So what he said before is لقد انتبه القدماء إلى أن الصور, the predecessors were aware that أن الصور التي, that surahs that بدأت بالحروف المفردة, surahs that begin with individual letters or single letters, بنيت على ذلك الحرف, were constructed or were built upon that letter. So he's saying the predecessors who are looking at the Quran, they realized something. They became aware that the surah, the letters which begin a surah, if it is Alif Lam Mim, or if it is Alif Lam Ra, whatever those letters, actually those same letters are what constitute the entire surah. Like you'd find quite a bit of words that have those letters. فَإِنَّ الْكَلِمَاتِ الْقَافِيَّةِ. So now he's giving an example. Certainly, الكلمات القافية, words that contain the letter qaf. الكلمات القافية موصوف صفة. So qaf letters, qaf words, sorry. Qaf words. So words with qaf in it. ترددت في سورة قاف, have been repeated or occur several times in Surah Qaf. كثيرا, a lot. والكلمة الصادية ترددت في سورة صاد كثيرا. And words containing the letter Sad have repeated several times in Surah Sad. وهكذا, and so on and so forth. Or like this. This is the case he's presenting, that you would find Surah Sad, it begins Sad. And then you go the entire surah, you find so many words that have the letter Sad in it. So that's the case he's presenting, and now he's providing evidence for that case that he has presented. And one of the evidence is the quote from Milaak Atta'weel, which we're going to look at. Is that clear so far?
Yes, Sister Ilham. Jazakallah khair.
Any questions on the i'rab of this part that we just did? Like, is that clear how? So ja'a, fi'il, fi, of course, that's going to be a jar majroor number 1. Then fi as-suwari jar majroor number 2. And you can see how from here all the way to the end is just one giant jar majroor. Like I mentioned, jar majroor make up a lot of Arabic, really. So you can see that's jar majroor number 1, and then jar majroor number 2. Yeah, so متعلق بالفعل, متعلق بالفعل. And then you enter inside that متعلق بالفعل, you find that there's another jumla فعلية. So you enter into this, so you have jar majroor, ism majroor, this is the sifa to that ism, and then this ism mawsul, this is the silatul mawsul, you enter into the silatul mawsul is a jumla فعلية, and so on and so forth. Okay, great. Now, this next part, I really need you to activate your brain juices and just pay a lot of attention. If I don't know, if you need to drink water or you need to jog a bit or get some blood flowing into your brain, because this part is a bit tricky. Okay, but let's see if we can be able to simplify. I'm going to write some sentences here in English before we even go into the Arabic, and then you can explain to me if you understand them, because I think if you understand something in English, then we can be able to borrow that into Arabic and hopefully make this clearer. So I'm going to type this. Just copy this. Okay, so I have those two sentences there. Certainly, these flowers, only what appears darker in color, grow in my area. That's sentence number 1. Okay, can we understand what I'm trying to say? Certainly, these flowers, only what appears or what appear darker in color, maybe that's the correct English, I don't know. What appear darker in color, grow in my area. Can somebody simplify that for me? What am I saying?
So you're giving a mawsuf and sifa? Mawsuf and sifa of the flowers?
Yeah, but what am I saying? Like, simplify that sentence for me. Like, certainly these flowers.
Yeah,
Only
you are giving a emphasis for those flowers.
No, the
Okay.
flowers which have
Or
that.
you are just
dark
taking
color.
only those color other from
okay.
the other
Okay,
one. Other
let's have
colors.
just one person.
Picking up
so
only
that-
this color which are darker from the other colors.
Okay, that's an observation. Okay. Samia, you were saying something. Let's hear what you were saying.
Yeah, I comprehended like he is pointing to the flowers who appear to look darker in
Mhm.
color. I mean, the dark colored flowers.
they
Mhm.
grow in my area. In other
Exactly.
words, that's what.
Yeah, in simple terms, dark colored flowers grow in my area. That's just what I'm saying. Like dark colored flowers are what grow in my area. But I'm pointing to something. I'm saying, okay, like, maybe in front of me are a bunch of flowers, right? And then I look at them and I say, these flowers, what appears darker among them is what grows in my area. So that's one sentence. Now, when you look at the second one, certainly these flowers, I'm just making it into a jumla ismiya by adding R, because when jumla ismiya, you have mubtada and khabar. So that's what I'm kind of trying to do there. So certainly these flowers are such that only what appears darker in color grow in my area. Yeah. So it's the same meaning, the same thing. And I hope you can be able to understand the meaning there. Okay. Is that sentence clear for
ma'am, this are
Uh-huh.
such that only this makes me something weird. Doesn't give me a I'm not able to understand this. Certainly these flowers are such that only what
Mhm.
appears that it's just the same way of telling that the above sentence, but you have just added the
Exactly.
number of words.
Yeah, it's the same thing. There's no difference. The only difference is I added such that, are such that. Like these flowers I'm pointing on, they behave in such a manner that only the darker ones grow in my area. That's what I'm saying. Okay, but it's the same sentence. All right. So far, so good with the English?
Yeah.
Shakespeare English.
Yes. Now we're going to go into Shakespeare Arabic now. Because that's exactly what's happening in this passage. That's exactly
Okay.
how the Arabs back in the day spoke.
Okay.
All right, so let's look at this. Who wants to read? Or actually,
Can I
Niana
try?
was reading.
Okay.
Niana, do you want to continue or somebody else? You want
I
somebody
will
else to read?
try. I will try. Okay.
Okay.
Inna hajis suwari innama
Sorry.
Qara'a fi awali kulli suwaroti minha maka suro tardaduhu fima tarkabu min kalimiha
How did you read this?
wayudi
Makathura?
this one
Yes.
makasuro
Uh-huh.
makasuro, is that correct?
Yes.
Ya, makasuro tardaduhu tarkabu min kalimiha.
Tarakkaba.
Yeah, the translate is a bit. This is the surah that occurs at the beginning of each surah. Is that which is frequently repeated in its compound words. I mixed with my translation with Google Translate.
No problem. It's fine. We'll figure it out slowly. I'm sure, surely. Okay. So let's go bit by bit. We know what inna is. What is inna?
Certainly.
Certainly. Yeah. Harf nasab. As-surah will be nasab. Where did I? Yes. As-suwari. Yes. This is wrong. As-suwara. Yes. I was multitasking when I was writing that. Sorry. Okay. So inna harf nasab. So هذه السورة is the ism of inna. So this part, all of it, because it's mushar اسم الإشارة musharun إليه. So that's the ism of inna, which means inna and its ism make up our mubtada. Okay? So we have a mubtada, which means whatever comes after it is going to be a khabar, unless it's a muta'alliq bil khabar. Okay? Because we know a jumla ismiya has a mubtada or a khabar, or a mubtada and a muta'alliq bil khabar. Rarely you can have a mahdoof, like the khabar can be mahdoof, the mubtada can be mahdoof, and so on and so forth. But that's a discussion for some other day. Okay. So we found a mubtada. Now we can fairly assume that whatever we get into next is going to be a khabar. We can fairly assume that. So if we say that the next part is the khabar, then we go into the khabar, we see there's innama. Who remembers what we talked about innama? What kind of ma is normally found in innama?
Ma zaida.
Ma zaida. Yeah. And is it ma zaida with a job or ma zaida without a job? Does it?
It has
do
a job. It nullifies the function of inna.
Exactly.
Yeah, it nullifies the function of inna.
Yeah. So this is ma zaida. It's called ma al-kafa. Ma al-kafa. And this structure here, innama, is called kafa wa makfufa. The thing stopping and the one being stopped. So kafa, this is ism fa'il. Makfufa is ism maf'ul. So that's what it's called. So if you look at tafsir books, if you're reading a tafsir book and you come across kafa wa makfufa, don't like go crazy. It's like, what is this? No, it's just talking about innama, really, or similar structures like innama. Okay, so whenever you come across innama, you put it aside for a second. Put it. Don't bother about translating it. Don't bother about its i'rab. Just put it aside for a second. Okay. Then you go to what's coming next.
So inna is called as kafa?
Inna is the makfufa, the thing being stopped, and the ma is kafa, the stopper.
Okay.
Yeah, the stopper and the thing being stopped.
What do you mean with kafa? I just heard that first time.
Okay, so maybe later you can check my class on the different kinds of ma. We talked about 8 different kinds of ma. One of them is the kind of ma that is extra in a sentence. You can remove this and the sentence will still be fine. So it's extra, but what it does is that it stops whatever came before it from doing its job. Like for example, inna, we know inna is harf nasab. So we expect the ma, or we expect whatever comes after it to be mansub. But what comes after it is a jumla fi'liya. So it doesn't even give it an ism, it gives it a fi'l. So it stops inna from having a victim. Yeah, so that's why it's called kafa, because it's stopping inna from having a victim. And now we have a jumla fi'liya, like a totally different structure. So that's what innama or this ma al-kafa does.
Okay.
So now we have a jumla fi'liya. So we said if you come across this structure, put it aside. Don't think about it. It means only. So just know that it means only. And I have to figure a place where I'm going to put this only, in a place where it makes sense, after I have figured out what comes after. So I have waqa'a. Waqa'a is a fi'l madi. So I know I'm looking at a jumla fi'liya here. So waqa'a fi'l, the fa'il is the inside pronoun huwa. And because we have an inside pronoun huwa, we can look ahead to see if we have something that is rafa, something that can be the outside doer. So I see fi awwali kulli suratin minha, none of that is rafa. Then you have ma, and ma is mabni. Ma is a type of word that is non-flexible, right? Is that how we called it, non-flexible? I think so. I'm forgetting. But it's a kind of word that does not show status. You can't tell, is it nasab, is it rafa, is it jar? You can't tell. So it's just sitting there. So now you're thinking, it could be. But if, question? Somebody has a question? Okay. So now there are 2 possibilities for this ma. It can either be rafa or it can be nasab. It cannot be jar because there's nothing that is making it jar. For something to be jar, you need either harf jar or it has to be mudaf ilayh. Here, it is no mudaf ilayh and it is not, there's no harf jar before it. So we rule out majroor. It's not majroor. So it's either mansub or it's marfu'. If it is mansub, then most likely it's a type of maf'ul. So it could be like maf'ul bihi of waqa'. That's a possibility. But then how do I rule out? How do I know for sure that it is not maf'ul bihi, that it is actually marfu'? It is the fa'il. So I go back to the fi'l waqa'. I go back to waqa' and I ask myself, waqa', what kind of a fi'l is waqa'? Is it lazim or is it muta'addi? Because we know that muta'addi takes on a maf'ul bihi, right? So if I know it takes on a maf'ul bihi, then there's a probability that ma could be a maf'ul bihi. But if it is not muta'addi, then the ma cannot be mansub, cannot be a maf'ul bihi. So you understand how the process, it's a slow process, but it's 100% sure process. Okay. So now, if you don't know how, yes,
If you just can repeat it again, I'm sorry.
no problem. I can repeat it 10 times if you want me, as long as you understand. No problem at all. Okay. So, so far up to here, you understand, right? From, it's the ma that is that you want me to repeat?
Yeah, innama, I understood after innama.
Okay. So after innama, we have waqa'a, which is a fi'l madi. The fa'il, waqa'a, huwa, waqa'a. It's huwa. And because we have a huwa version, then we can look for an outside doer, right? And if we see something that is rafa, then that will become the outside doer. But then when we look, we see, okay, fi awwali jar majroor, awwali kulli mudaf mudaf ilayh, kulli suratin mudaf mudaf ilayh, minha jar majroor, nothing rafa there. Then I encounter the ma. Now you have a ma. I don't know what ma is. Is it rafa or nasab? I don't know. How do I know? So this is where you ask yourself, what is waqa'a? Is waqa'a lazim? Is it transitive or intransitive? Can it take a maf'ul bihi or it doesn't take a maf'ul bihi? Because if it can take a maf'ul bihi, then there's a possibility that this ma could be maf'ul bihi. Yes. But if it doesn't take a maf'ul bihi, then there's only one possibility for this ma. It can be rafa.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now if you know what waqa'a means, then you can easily tell if it's lazim or muta'addi. If you don't know,
It's
then you can check in the
lazim.
dictionary. It's lazim.
It's lazim.
Exactly. It's lazim. It occurred. How does that sound? It sounds like passive, right? It occurred or it happened. Waqa'a, it is placed. It sounds lazim, right? Even if you just translate it in English, you can see that it is lazim. And if you don't know how to check, you can just go to the dictionaries and you would see that the al-ma'ani, especially if you check the dictionary al-ghani, you go to the Arabic dictionaries and you pick al-ghani, it normally tells you if a fi'al is lazim, if it's muta'addi, if it's muta'addi biharf, easy peasy lemon squeezy. If al-ma'ani is difficult for you, you can just check on Hansware. Normally, something that is muta'addi comes with like a ha on it, that is going to tell you that it takes a pronoun, right? So now we know that waqa'a is lazim. Because it's lazim, therefore this ma is our outside doer, okay? Now this ma is an ism mawsul, okay? Because most of the time, even though there are about 8 different kinds of ma, the most common ma is ma mawsula. That's the most common. But that doesn't mean that every ma you see is going to be ma mawsula, okay? You can actually try and think about it more to figure out what kind of ma it is, you know, but which is the longer process. But just the fact that you have a'id here, that should be giveaway that this is ma mawsula. So now you know this is ma mawsula, which means whatever comes after it is going to be silatul mawsul. Now we enter into the silatul mawsul to see where the chain breaks. Where does it end? Okay, so kathura tardaduhu. So kathura tardaduhu. This tardaduhu is the fa'il of kathura, because again kathura is fi'l lazim. Okay, so tardaduhu fa'il, fima jar majrur muta'alliq, then again ma. So this is another ma mawsula. How do I know it's ma mawsula? Because the pronoun inside tarakkaba is huwa, and the pronoun inside ma is also huwa, so they match. So you don't need a a'id. So actually the a'id is there, it's just that it's inside ma, okay? So this is ma mawsula, and then again this is silatul mawsul. Tarakkaba, sorry about that. Tarakkaba, so this is the silatul mawsul of this ma. And then this entire thing is the silatul mawsul of this ma. So you see how many brackets we have there. So we have fima, the big bracket there, and then we have this ma, or rather from fima, that's inside bracket, and then we have another bracket, ma tarakkaba. Quite a number of brackets in there.
Sister,
Yes.
this ma mawsula with kathura as a fa'il. So kathura is the complete fail, and tardaduhu is also a fail, right?
No, tardad is an ism.
Noun.
Kathura is a
Noun,
fi'l.
right?
Yes, it's a
Fail.
noun.
So it makes a complete sense, right? Sister Ilham, the kathura tardaduhu is a mawsul, silatul mawsul. Where do you find why we are extending it till kalimiha? Because there it makes a complete sense. There is a break in chain, right? Kathura tardaduhu fima. Yeah, up till here it's a fima. Up till fima it is one chain, and you can consider it as a silatul mawsul, right? Because tarakkaba is again a new fail, and we can take it as a new jumla failure. No. Actually,
You
kathura
figured it out?
kathura tardaduhu fima. Because again it is joined to ma, so that is why it is completely taken up till end. Okay. Am I correct?
Yes. So ma is the ism mawsul. So whatever comes after it is the silatul mawsul. We have to figure out where does this silatul mawsul end. So inside the silatul mawsul, you have a fi'il, which is kathura. And then the fa'il of kathura is tardaduhu. So fi'il, fa'il. Fima, jar majrur, muta'alliq to kathura. Then ma, ism mawsul. This ism mawsul has its silatul mawsul. So,
Yeah.
so you see this is one bracket. And then this is another bracket, jar majrur. And now this, the main bracket, silatul mawsul of ma. Yeah. This is Arabic for you. It's like ma.
Yes. Sister Ilham, how would you translate this sentence? I think the translation will fix our understanding better.
Yes. Now, remember our flowers analogy here? So I'm gonna actually translate based on that. Okay, so I'm just gonna So I'm gonna say certainly this surahs or this surah only what? Now remember I went to what? Where am I getting what from? Where am I getting what from?
The ma.
Ma.
Yes.
Ma.
This ma. This ma kathura.
This
And
ma.
why am I starting with this ma? Why am I not translating the fi'il first? Anybody with any
You're
ideas?
taking it as a file? You're taking it as a
Exactly.
file?
Yes.
Okay.
So this entire sentence here is my fa'il. And whenever
Oh.
you're translating Arabic into English, like we do fa'il first, like he went. We don't say went he, we say he went. So we have to translate the fa'il first before we come in with the fi'il. So normally in Arabic, we start with the fi'il and the fa'il can be later, sometimes. But here in English, I have to do the fa'il first. So now I'm going to say only what kathura, only what. Now this is where it gets tricky because kathura means increased. Okay, well, let's just
Abundant or frequent or something, kathura.
yes. I don't want to translate it in. Okay, we can just say in Madi. Only what increased or what frequented. Can I use that one? Anyway, let's just do a bad translation and then we can fix it. We'll fix
Sister
it.
Ilham, kasra here is passive, right?
Yes. No, it's not passive. It's Karuma family.
Okay.
Repetition?
But
You
it's
can say
lazim.
repetition increased.
Repetition?
Repetition increased.
Yes, actually, because now we have the fa'il. What? Huh. This is where it gets really tricky, to be honest.
You can say what increased in reputation or
Yeah, that's what I was going for. But you see, if you say
Yeah.
in reputation, we're not translating it as a fa'il. But I think sometimes you just have to make compromises.
Yeah.
Because if I'm to do
Yeah.
literal translation, it's going to sound so weird. It won't make.
It
Okay,
does-
maybe let's do
yeah.
a literal one and then we'll fix it. Let's do a very literal one and then we can fix it. So only
Yeah, that's
words.
good. Yeah.
Okay. So now we are on this part. Ma kathura tardaduhu. That's what we are trying to translate. So only words.
we can say such that the reputations increased.
Okay.
Like you
Yes.
translate in the second sentence, like such that the reputations increased.
Yeah. This is why I translated like this, because when you make it like this, it actually sounds better than the first one. The
Yeah.
first one, there's just so many commas and you can't really make what is happening here. Okay, so let's do a terrible one, and then we can do a much better one, and then we can clean it. Okay. Suddenly these surahs, only what repetitions, what repetition increased in them. Oh my God, this is so bad.
Repetition
Is it? It's
frequently repeated.
It's repetition. Yeah,
It's-
sorry?
It's repetition. It's
Yes.
repetition, sister. Tardadu,
Yes.
muzaf, like.
Yes. Yeah. So only what its repetition increased. Fima,
So what
In
do you really
Frequently
in what?
repeated. Is that okay too?
sorry, I didn't get anything there. Let's start with
Frequently,
go on.
frequently repeated.
Sorry.
Frequently repeated. Frequently. Yeah.
So
Yes,
we are talking
Sister
about
Ilham.
what is its repetition basically increased or became a lot.
We sorry, Sister Ilham, do we really need to translate if you take who as an ayat? What I understood it is that you don't really need to translate the ayat because
Actually,
it's
yeah.
just there for grammar, you know, it's just like for hinting purpose, but it's
Yeah.
not taken up in translation. So we can say repetition increased,
Yeah.
but you
That's
know,
actually true. You don't need to translate the ayin. This is why it's so difficult to do a literal translation, guys. Like it's almost impossible because they're not going to match 100%. Like it's such a headache, you know. Anyway, so maybe we can put it in bracket just so that, you know, we know it's there, but it's really not there. You know, what repetition increased? فيما تركب من كلمها. In what? We can say composed. Huh. From its, oh, this is so bad. From its letters. Okay. Now that's our fa'il. Only what its repetition increased in what composed from its letters. Sounds like a mad person speaking English. Oka, waka'a, or okad. في أول كل سورة منها. Okad at the beginning of
the surah in it.
every
because
surah.
remember, yeah, kul plus
Kullu.
something that is nakira will give you the meaning of every, each and every. So at the beginning of every surah
Surah.
from them.
From it. From the.
I'm going to say them because ha is referring to a suwar. Yeah.
Onwards.
Yeah.
Jama.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's why I'm saying them.
Jama.
Because again, English, Arabic is that difference. Now this is a weird sentence. Okay. So certainly these surahs only what its repetition increased in what composed from its letters occurred at the beginning of every surah. Just from reading this, can you be able to get some idea of what the guy is trying to say?
Yeah. The first
no,
letter
not
which
that.
comes
No,
at the
not-
starting of the surah gets repeated in that surah.
Okay. Anybody else wants to add on that? Because I had several voices.
So yeah, I mean, basically what he's saying is what is happening at the beginning of the surah is actually being repeatedly if there is an increased repetition of what really exists at the beginning of each surah.
100%. That's what he's
Yeah.
saying. Yeah. So
Yeah.
he's just saying these surahs are composed of the repetition of what happens at the beginning. That's the meaning. It's a weird thing to say like this, but so you realize if you didn't take this ma as the fa'il, you would actually translate this as what occurs at the beginning. You probably say it occurs at the beginning of every surah. What? So you take it as a maf'ul bihi. So you say it occurs at the beginning of every surah. What is increased in composition of its letters, which would be opposite. It's not what he's saying. It's the same meaning, but it's slightly opposite. So let's fix this. Let's fix it. So he's saying, now let's add a few things, and certainly these surahs are such that, yeah, only what only what only what only can I translate as only whose repetition? So this is actually where you struggle, because do you go away from our normal translation? Like, I know if I say only whose, you probably ask me, okay, where's the sifa? There's no sifa. Or if I say only the ones who, you'll be like, okay, where's the alladhi? So you see, this is where it gets a bit tricky, but just to make sense out of the English, sometimes you have to compromise the Arabic a little bit and add some more stuff or reduce some stuff just to make sense in English. So certainly these surahs are such that only what's repeated, what's mostly repeated, I'd say, because I'm translating increased as mostly. What's mostly repeated at the beginning. It's mostly repeated. Okay. And it's,
I translated as frequently
that's also,
repeated.
yeah, that's also works. Frequently, mostly, frequently.
Yeah, mostly.
It has the same meaning. In the composition of its letters. Okay, let's see if we can make sense of that. So certainly these surahs are such that only what's mostly repeated in the composition of its letters occur at the beginning of every surah from them. That yani from the bunch of, from all the surahs. Yeah. Can we be able to make some sense from that?
Yeah, but why can't we just write it simply? You know, yeah, I mean,
I know.
why did you want to do that? I mean, why?
I'm pretty sure
Why?
there's even an easier way of saying all this. Just
Yeah, and then whatever occurs in that, you know, I mean, we saw the author say, you know, whatever occurs in the beginning, you know, it's you see those frequency increasing of those letters. So
yeah,
maybe
it's
they
a
like
weird one.
lengthy sentences. Maybe they like lengthy sentences. Okay.
No, actually, the English will not do the justice with it. Maybe it's beautiful in Arabic, but the way we want to translate, because
I
we are
mean,
doing the translation of it, definitely doesn't fit into the word. It's because it's beautified in an Arabic language, but we cannot do justice with the English one, I guess. Justice Telham wants to explain the way how it has been portrayed, but something it gives out in English. Yeah.
that is true. I mean, the thing is, but this thing has been explained in a better way in the para preceding it. So there is a way you can say.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So I guess this is actually a window for us to see how old Arabic was spoken. Maybe it could be that probably Milaak, the author of Milaak Atta'weel, is reading an older book and it's like, why are these guys so weird in their language? Why are they speaking so difficulties in such a complex language like this? So maybe at that time when he was writing this was easy. You know how language keeps on changing and becomes easier and easier. So right now we're looking back and we're like, that was so hard. Why could you just say like this? Subhanallah.
Well,
Maybe in future.
Yeah, more than an English translation, it's what we have analyzed the grammar, what I took it more than a translation, what I understood and how we are able to analyze the grammar. What I felt now in this paragraph was an analysis of a grammar than the translation. I don't know why. Yeah, because I don't know, at the end it gives the same meaning as the above paragraph, but the way we are solving the grammar, I felt that is more important than the translation. I don't know if it's okay with you all.
Absolutely. And you can imagine this is somebody's writing this down. Like he didn't think about, okay, this is the file, this is the file, I'm going to take the file there, I'm just going, you know, when you're sitting down to write, the words just come to your head and you just write. So this is just somebody who just sat down and wrote. Like it wasn't, he didn't think about it. So it was normal language for them at that time. Subhanallah, this kind of weird speech. Maybe in future, somebody's going to look at how we speak and they're like, why are they speaking so in such complex language like this? Because they're probably used to speaking in emojis and I don't know, weird language. I don't know. Subhanallah. So,
Even Sister Ilham, the way you have translated the second one, though we have translated in English, but yet it's still very confusing.
right.
Because the moment you read it out, you should be able to understand. But this one, like you need to think twice or thrice or more than that to figure it out what it's trying to say actually.
100%. So if we were just to do surgery of this sentence and write it very simplistically, this is what it will be. Only what appears, how do I say? The most frequent. In a surah, or what is found at the beginning of that surah. This is it.
Yes, simple.
Yeah, that's what he's saying.
Blasted. Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, we get to appreciate how old Arabic sounds like. SubhanAllah.
There is no hobar, right?
Sorry?
No hobar.
Khabar? So yeah. Oh,
Kada.
coming back to that. Yeah, so we found the mubtada, and then I said, most likely this entire thing from innama all the way could be the khabar. So you could look at this entire thing as the khabar. And that is why, you see, in my second translation, I'm adding are such that. Because just to make it sound better in English. Because if I add are here, it won't make sense. Be like, certainly these surahs are only what is, and it doesn't make sense. You're like, so that's one way of looking at it. Yeah. So you can add are such that. Certainly these surahs, mubtada. Then you have invisible are, such that is our khabar. And of course, I'm adding such that just to make sense.
Are such that. Which one in Arabic here?
It's not there. No, it's not there. I just added it to make sense in English.
Yeah, yeah.
So from innama, it's whole khabar, right, Sister Ilham, till the end?
Yeah. Yes, till the end. Yeah. Because it's connected. There's no break in the chain anywhere.
So what do we do with innama?
Only. So you figure out a place to put only, and that's why you see in my translation I have only what. So he's saying what you would find, only what you would find that is repeated most of the time in the entire surah is what occurs at the beginning. So it's like more of like an emphasis type of thing happening there. Right? Any other questions there? But at least is the grammar clear? Okay.
Alhamdulillah, clear.
Great.
One comment.
Yes.
When we were doing this previously, I think Ustad said that the first ma before kasura is ma in shayya.
So inama?
Not in nama. Just the ma
Ma
mafula.
kasura?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm just asking.
Did he explain like what he means by that, or because that would be like a balagha thing?
Okay, I'm gonna go see and then come back to you about that.
Yeah, because in balagha you have a sentence that is khabariya and a sentence that is insha'iyya. So khabariya is more like a fact, you know, like something you can answer to yes or no. Like it's more of a factual type of sentence. Is this pen blue? Yes. It's a fact. Is it raining outside? No. Or no. What am I saying? Am I confusing my Insha'iyya and Khabariya? Because Insha'iyya are sentences
Was
you cannot.
emotion-based. I
Yeah.
thought Insha'iyya was emotion based and Khabariya were the factual ones.
Yes. So something like that. Yeah. But it's still the ma mawsula and it's still the fa'il here of waqa. All right. Any other comments, corrections, clarifications? Okay. Let's see, because I don't know who else wants to read. Maybe we can finish up.
I can try. I can
Yes.
try.
Okay, I don't know
Okay.
who said first. Somebody.
But there was a raised hand, maybe.
Okay, you can
Yeah,
just go on, Samia, and I don't know who it was, honestly. Then maybe we can have Sultana. Was that you?
G,
I don't know.
sister.
Okay.
Okay.
So
okay.
let's have Samia.
Inshallah.
Samia, you can read up to. Oh, okay, it doesn't really end. It goes on and on. I was looking for a
I can
full
read
stop.
just one
Sorry.
line.
Okay,
Can we
line.
take another one line, because it's too much of brain juice, as you said, Sister Ilham, because I'm
Yeah.
just trying to what had happened. I'm just trying to figure out. I just took a screenshot. I want to figure out what is happening there.
Yeah. I was thinking if you can be able to finish up to
Yes.
like this point.
Yes.
I don't know if. Yeah. Let's see. If it will be too much, we'll just end somewhere. No problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Go on. Samia.
Okay. So yeah. Okay. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Wayuwaddihu. I took it as past. Wayuwaddihu laka.
I'm
Ma
gonna read it as yudahu.
yudahu. Okay.
Yes.
Yudahu. Yudahu ma laka.
Lakama.
Zakatu. Lakama. Zakatu. Annaka idha nazarta fi suratin minha bima yumasiluha fi alidi kalmiha wa hurufiha. And do you want me to further? Oh, okay.
Let's stop there.
Or-
Let's put a comma there, and then we'll figure out what's happening.
Yeah.
Okay.
I took it as past because I took it as it was made clear to you. So I made it like, is it right?
So the same author is continuing.
Okay.
Okay, so it depends how you translate this ma. How did you translate this ma?
Past will not
You-
have a pesh on the last letter, na sister. Dhamma on the last. It has to be
Mudara.
fatah. Yeah.
Yes,
Having
yeah, if it-
been a past, if they had taken, then
Yeah.
this ha should have a fatah on it. So it can be only
But which
mudari or
family will
majhul.
it be, like Madi? It
It
can't
can't be
because
masi.
with Madi you don't have ya at the beginning. Only Mudara you have ya at the beginning.
What the hell
Let's-
you
But then you don't have yuwaddihu, you have waddaha, which is the Madi.
No, but this is not mudare.
This is Mudara, yes. So you
So
either make it
waddaha-
Mudara majhul or Mudara marfu. What is it called? Like either passive or active. Ma'lum.
Maloom.
Maruf.
Ma'lum and mabni majhul.
Maruf
Yeah.
and majhul.
Yeah.
Okay.
But in that it will be yuwaddiuna, sisters. There will be kasra down.
If you're taking it as family
Wadda
2,
yuwaddi, two.
I think this is family 4. Awdaha. Awdaha yudahu.
yudahu.
Yudahu. And then this is majhul. Yudahu.
Aslama,
Yudahu.
okay.
Okay.
So now
Yudahu.
can I ask something?
Yes.
See, here I get confused when I see with the same root letter you get 2 to 3 families. I was expecting, as Sister Sama saying, like yuwaddihu. But how to figure it out, because the meanings are almost same, Sister Ilham, when we try to figure out with the other tools. So
Yeah.
which ones to choose?
So for me, when it comes between family 4 and family 2, family 2 has the meaning of intensity or repetition, like frequency, something happening over and over. So if I'm to go with family 2, then probably I'm alluding to the fact that it will happen repeatedly several times, or it will be intense. So here, I don't think there's that repetition happening in clarification. It's not like it will clarify to you over and over. It's just, it will be clarified to you. Like once, this will be clarified to you. Yeah, or it will be explained to you. So between family 2 and family 4, just think about what is being said. What makes more sense? Is there repetition in meaning that is intended? Something happening over and over, then you go with family 2. If there is not, then go with family 4. If it's between family 1 and family 4, this is where it gets a bit like tricky, because sometimes they mean the same thing.
This is how we decide, right? If I want to take it as a family 2, that means I want to repeat it again and again. I want to intensify it.
Like the
So it
action is
depends-
happening over and over again.
That depends upon me how I want to take it, right, Sister Ilham? Suppose I know the author has written it, but if I took it as a context, as a repetition, then I would be choosing it as a family 2. This is how I'm getting it. Like, isn't it right? Wrong?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, you'll be deciding. It's really, because if they mean the same thing, the difference is very, very small if it's there. Like, for example, the difference between family 2 and family 4 is that family 2, over and over. But it's the same action. It's the same fi'l. Nothing is changing really. So, and also, again, it comes with practice, because you find that certain words are used, especially now, more commonly in those patterns than in other patterns. Like if you have a family 1 and family 4, you'd find that sometimes the family 4 is more frequently used than family 1, or sometimes family 1 is more frequently used than family 4. So it comes again with practice, or just knowing those subtle differences between the different families. It will come with
Jazakallah
practice.
khair.
I also didn't know.
Okay.
In fact, that was my first question to Ustad when he was taking question. I was like, Saddara, Asdara, Sadara. They all mean the same thing: to publish, to issue. Which one?
Which one? Yes, that's there I get confused. It's not with this case, it's every time it happens. So
Yeah.
it's you have to be a little because sometimes it comes with the family 1 as well. It gets more
Right.
confusion. Then
Yeah.
which one to choose?
Yeah. So sometimes it comes with practice. It comes with just like, sometimes it just feels better. And you will find that most of the time family 4 is a more common family than the other families. So family 4 is mostly preferred to family 2 and family 1. So if you're unsure, go with family 4. You'll be safer. Yeah.
Okay, Sarah. Jazakallah.
Okay. So ويوضح لك Samia, could you repeat how you translated this, or how you approach this?
I translated it as, I took ma zakartu as a file. So what I mentioned is made clear to you. I took it as that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So, and then we have annaka. That annaka it sounds like something additional that when you see in the surah from among them, with whatever they resemble with in number of words or letters. This is how I translated it. Weird translation.
Yeah, because it's a weird statement anyway. It's the same author, so you can see how difficult it gets. But pretty much that's it. So yeah. So this yudahu, you can either take it as yudihu, which would be the ma'lum version of it, and that means the ma after it would be the fa'il. Or if you take it as majhul, yudahu, then this ma would be the naibul fa'il. Okay.
Yeah.
So what ma dhakartu what I mentioned, that إذا نظرت, so this whole part is still connected. It will be the either نائب الفاعل or the فاعل, depending on how you look at this verb. Okay. I don't know if we
Ma
have
is ma
brain.
mausulia, right? Ma mausulia. What I
Yes.
mentioned
Yes,
was
what I meant.
clarified to you. What I
Yeah.
mentioned was clarified to you.
Or will be clarified because it's مضارع.
Okay, we'll do that. That's
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it will be clarified to you. Or it
Can
will
you repeat
clarify.
to you that you, when, what is it, Cecilia? That you, إنك إذا نظرت.
Okay, so let's go bit by bit. So we figured, okay, you the whole.
Hilham?
Yeah.
Sister Hilham, you
Mhm.
are putting them into the file bracket. I put them
This whole
into
thing, yeah.
the maf'ul bracket, you know, that how is he
Maf'ul-
making it clear? Yeah,
مفعول of the
how is
cat.
he making maf'ul? Like, how
Of
is
the
he
cat.
making it clear? He's no, not of zakartu, maf'ul of yudahu. That how was it made clear to you that when you look at the surahs or the similar surahs, you will find that these, you know, the starting verbs, the harf al-muftata, they occur more frequently. So this, he is saying how he made it clear. So I took them as this bracket as a maf'ul bihi of yudahu.
I don't understand the meaning of that. So what I mentioned will clarify for you this part? Will
No,
clarify for you this?
what I mentioned is being made clear to you
This.
how that when you see in the surah amongst them or with the similar surahs in terms of number of the words and the huruf, you will find that the beginning ones in those surahs individually and in composition are more frequent in numbers. So he is explaining how is he making this clear.
I don't see that connection, honestly. I am stuck there. So
Okay, go ahead, inshallah, we'll see.
يوضح.
Let's complete this paragraph and then maybe we can make a better sense, inshallah. Please go ahead.
Okay. Now I'm a bit confused, but let me think about this. So ويوضح لك ما ذكرت.
Can you take it for tomorrow? Otherwise, it's getting too much.
Right.
work.
Yeah, I think we can stop there and just think about it. But I still feel like أنك, this part,
Yeah.
is the مفعول of ذكرت. What did I mention? I mentioned that if you look da. So, but anyway, I'll think about it more, how you're looking at it, and then tomorrow, inshallah, we can decipher it if it's the مفعول of يوضح or the مفعول of ذكرت, and what meanings as a result of those two scenarios, inshallah.
So,
Yeah.
okay, if you are taking this whole in a bracket, so where is your bracket ending?
It does at the end.
It doesn't end. So
It ends at the end.
it doesn't end. Okay. So we in this sentence, then practically we have only a verb.
Yeah, you don't need a مفعول به in a sentence. It's not a mandatory. So you have the fi'il here, and you have whether this is the fa'il or نائب الفاعل. So you have the fi'il, you have the fa'il. It's good. It's a sentence.
Wow. Okay.
Right.
Okay. Okay. Alhamdulillah.
Any other questions or clarifications?
No.
Okay, so maybe when you're fresh, because right now we've done this part, this section, and this section is just weird. Maybe when you're fresh, you can come back to just this structure here before tomorrow's class and just try and see if you can be able to figure out on your own. Just on your own, you don't have to. If you get stuck, maybe you can watch the video, but on your own, just try and label it and see if you can make sense out of it on your own.
So can we make this as yudihu also, sister? أودها you دي هو is from family 4.
Yes.
Is the
If you're
array one,
taking it
and
as ma'lum.
this ma'lum and ma and the whole bucket of this is the file like how we did here for
Right.
waqa'a, ma kasara in the same way.
Right. Yeah, you can do that.
Sister Ilham, what is
Mhm.
ma'lum? This is also the
Oh,
first
sorry.
time I heard.
Ma'lum, basically, you know, in Bayna we have 2 lines of the sarf saghir. So we have madi, mudari', masdar, isim fa'il, isim, then you have the majhul, so on and so forth.
Yes.
So ma'lum is the opposite of majhul. Majhul is passive,
Oh.
ma'lum is active.
Oh, okay. Ma'lum is
From
active.
ilm,
Yeah. Okay.
from knowing, so it is known. Ma'lum, it is known. It's isim maf'ul. And majhul, it is not known. It is from jahil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Understood. Yeah.
Good. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So you can take this ma either way, depending on how you take this verb. If you take it as ma'lum, this would be your fa'il. If you're taking this as majhul, this will be a na'ibul fa'il. All right. Any other clarifications there before we
No.
end? Okay. All right.
Thank you,
We can
Sister
stop there.
Ilham.
وإياكم. Thank you too. You're welcome. سبحانك اللهم بحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. السلام عليكم.
وعليكم
Waalaikumsalam.
السلام ورحمة الله
وعليكم
وبركاته.
السلام
جزاكم
ورحمة
الله خيرا
الله
كثيرا sisters.
جزاكم الله خير
وإياكم.
sister.
وإياكم. جزاكم الله خير.